Hi guys, Ryuu here from Blender Bros and welcome to beginner's tutorial for hard surface in Blender. Let's go. Alright guys, 4 things before we start, and please listen, do not skip this because it's important. 1. If you're a complete beginner, absolute beginner, I would really recommend grabbing our free course, Jumpstart Hard Surface in Blender. Link is in the video description. It's fantastic and it will teach you all the fundamentals you need to know, and like I said, it's free, so enjoy. 2. I'm using a new Screencast add-on developed by Proxy, who's a main programmer on HARDOPS and BOXCUTTER team. It's here on the right, and if you have any suggestions or ideas, comments, etc., let me know. Add-on is still being worked on and we are testing it with Josh. Now 3, I'm gonna be using free add-ons like machine tools and power save. I have videos that will teach you all the things you need to know about these add-ons on my YouTube channel, so go ahead and watch them if you wanna, go a bit deeper. But I'm going to explain everything you need to know for this video, so don't worry. But links in the video description, go ahead and grab them. Both add-ons are free. And finally, if you would like to set your UI to the same state as mine, so you can either watch the UI YouTube video that I have, which covers everything you need to know, or just go through the Jumpstart course, which I mentioned at the beginning of this video, which will teach you the same thing. Okay, so do either of these. Alright guys, so let's start working here. So Shift A and let's add a cube. So let's add the cube, and you can see here that when I'm going to rotate this cube to a certain location like here, you can barely see the border between these two faces. So to make this a bit more clear, what you want to do is you want to go here, enable cavity. Okay, this will put like a nice highlight on the edges, so no matter what angle you're looking from, it looks really cool. That just helps a bit to read the form a bit better. And also, why is my cursor not in the middle? Shift S, and let's move cursor to origin. Click on the cube, Shift S, and move cursor, select it to cursor. Now, this menu is actually a custom menu created by Machine Tools. So once you install Machine Tools, go here, and I want you to enable a few things, okay? It's really easy. Tap Machine Tools here and enable Smart Vet, that's for cleaning. Enable mode spy, that should be by default, and also enable this cursor at origin point, which is basically at the menu I showed you right now. So Shift S, right? It's the same as Blender menu, but a bit more robust, and there are also origin points options here, which are quite important. Okay. All right, cool. So now let's just as Z and scale this, and as Y and scale it on Y-axis, and maybe make it a bit thicker, maybe a bit wider, so SX, and maybe a bit more thick like this. Okay. Now when you scale anything in Blender, you need to apply that scale. Okay, so now I'm gonna press N and roll out this N panel menu. Go to item, you'll see that my scale is not uniform. Now what it means is that whenever you scale in object mode, your scale is gonna shift. This will affect many things, okay? So when I go to edit mode by pressing tab and go into edge with Machine Tools, I'm going to Control B that. You see like this edge is not being beveled uniformly, the angle is skewed. The same gonna happen to solidification, array, etc. So what you wanna do is you wanna reset it. Now when you're using HARDOPS and BOXCUTTER, it's gonna be done automatically whenever you're applying cutter, but here we need to go to Control A and apply scale, okay? Second thing you need to do when you're working in hard surface, you want to shade your mesh smooth, and you want to add auto smooth whenever you're not working with sub D. So right click here and shade auto smooth, right? This will actually in 3.3, because I'm in 3.3, is gonna add the auto smooth automatically here, so you don't have to do it manually, because when previous versions of Blender, what you need to do is shade smooth and add auto smooth. The new version actually added new function here, which is shade smooth and add auto smooth at the same time, which is really convenient. Okay, so we're gonna do that now. Let's collapse this menu here by pressing N, and I'm going to press tilde key. Now if you don't know what the tilde key is, it's the key to the left of your key number 1 on your keyboard. Usually this pie menu allows you to navigate in Blender, go left, right, top, whatever. So we're gonna go to right view and press numpad 5. Now This Screencast keys add-on doesn't really display numerical keys on the numpad yet. Now the key number 5, there's no symbols on it, which is why it says clear. But press numpad 5 and you will enter something called orthographic mode. That's perspective and that's orthographic, okay? In orthographic mode in side view, what we're gonna do, gonna shift D this and copy it in here. And we're going to scale it a bit on X, because at the moment what you see here is what's called Z fighting. Both of these cubes occupy the same space on X-axis, so we need to make this a bit wider to make booleans work a bit better. So SX and scale it out like that. And we're gonna go to edge mode, so tap edge mode, click on the edge, GY, and move it a bit here. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab this edge and Control B that. Now when you scroll your mouse, you're gonna add segments, you can see them on the bottom. Don't add too many, I think 10 is more than enough. So I'd like 10 and go to object mode by pressing tab and go into, object mode. So like I said, here's edit mode, object mode. Very convenient. Now we're gonna add another add-on here. It's a Blender native add-on called Bull Tool, and I want you to type here Bull Tool. Click on that thing and save preferences. If you don't see save preferences, simply disable auto saving, right? I like to have control over what I'm saving in terms of preferences. You may also enable loop tools. We may be using this, so enable that save prefs and you're good to go. Now with this add-on enabled, you can select the cutter, because that's our cutter. Shift select the object you want to cut and press Ctrl minus on the numpad to cut it. Yeah, so there you go. Now the cutter is going to be changed into wire, so it's going to be easy to see. It's a live cutter, so you can move it and kind of change the way it cuts through. I like it, so I'm going to leave it. I'm going to go here and click on that mesh, and I'm going to click on the wrench. We're going to add a mirror, because we want to mirror this cut here to the other side. So go here and click on the mirror, and now we need to mirror this across y-axis, this yellow one, right? That's X, that's Y, and the Z. You don't see Z-axis, but I can enable it in here. That's a Z-axis, okay? By default it's disabled. So here we're going to remove that rubbish and just press this Y, bisect and flip. And this is going to, flip this to the other side, okay? We can apply this, so we're going to apply this boolean, right? And do not apply a mirror yet, because we're gonna use it. So now let's remove this. So click on the cutter, press X and delete it. Click on the object, go to edit mode, so top edge, and select all these edges here with Shift, Control B, and just bevel them now. Now we're gonna get this shape, and it's gonna get mirrored to the other side. So now we can actually apply the mirror, so apply. And we're going to cut it, okay? So let's go to face mode here. Select this face and press, actually select both of them, so with Shift. Press F to remove this edge in the middle. We're going to press I to inset it like this, okay? And then right click it, and we're going to bridge them with a loop tools add-on, okay? Bridge. Then you're gonna get this kind of a shape, right? So instead of using booleans sometimes, you can use a bridge. And it's a really cool function in Blender. Cool. Now this is a good time to save your model, because you don't want to lose progress. So go here, save as, and you're good to go. And on top of that, I usually run power save. Now you can copy my settings here. By default, this one is disabled, so enable that. And I also save my files with a suffix, which means it's going to save a new file with the suffix titled autosave, and it will automatically save your progress every 2 minutes or whatever you're gonna set in here, okay? So you don't have to worry about crashing. Okay, now let's add the cube. So Shift A, add a cube. And by the way, guys, when you're working with Blender, you need to start learning shortcuts, okay? So, SX. So the Shift A to add another shape is really important. Now, what we can do is we can create something interesting here. We could, for example, grab this face, right? And Control R here to insert a loop. Control B to split that loop, and you need to scroll down to remove the segments. Create something like this. Grab this face and extrude it pressing E here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to remove these edges because we don't need them, right? So we're going to dissolve them, X and dissolve. And we're going to, we don't need this, these ones as well, so dissolve them. We're going to grab these edges here, okay? And in fact, let's grab this face. So face mode, SX, scale it a bit, and then grab these edges here and here, and Control B, and bevel it. But you can see that we need to apply scale again because the bevel here in the corner is skewed. So Control A, apply scale, go to edge mode. Blender is gonna remember the selection. Control B, scroll your mouse, create maybe 8. Now the reason why I'm creating even number of segments, that's a pro tip for you, is that when in the future, when you, for example, want to make a game asset out of this and you want to decimate the model, which means remove excess geometry, you can select every second edge in between the supporting edges of this bevel. These are supporting edges, they support the flatness of this structure, right? So you select all these here, press X, and you dissolve them, and you halve the bevel size, okay? This is why you want to have even number of segments and uneven number of edges, alright? Now this is faceted, we need to smooth it out, because if we don't, this faceting is going to be transferred onto our object. So right click, Shade Auto Smooth, shift click, Control minus, and you get this really interesting kind of a cut that goes sort of inside your shape, and it's pretty cool, right? Awesome. Now we don't want to create super symmetrical structure, so what we're going to do is we're going to grab another cube, move it here, so GY, move it here, go to top view and orthographic with numpad 5, move this cube here, R, rotate it. Now what you can do is hold Control and rotate it in increments, right? You see that? If I hold Control, you can rotate it in increments. It's going to snap. Now we're going to scale it on a local axis. Now what's a local axis? Global axis is the one that doesn't move. So it's Z, Y, and X, right? So, X, Y, Y, and Z. That's a global axis. When you rotate something, it will inherit a local axis. So now the axes have shifted. So G, Y, that's a global, but if you press Y one more time, that's a local, because the Y axis has shifted with the rotation, you understand, right? So S, Y, Y, it will allow you to scale it on the local Y axis, okay? Otherwise, if you do that on Y axis like this, it will scale kind of weirdly, okay? So S, Y, Y, scale it like that, move it a little bit here, you probably know where I'm going with this. Now, when you're cutting something, you want to be careful with bevels, okay? Because bevels are, in polygon modeling, they're quite tricky. But we're going to introduce one more thing in here. So Control A and apply scale. We're going to go to edge mode with tab, Control R here, and we're going to move this one, okay, on local X. So GXX like this. And we're going to create a really nice round chamfer. Bevel, add a lot of segments, maybe, I don't know, 46 will do, so it's gonna maybe even more. Let's go with 50. So it's gonna be nice and smooth, and we want to cut, this shape here, like this, okay? So bringing it close here, and shift, click this one, and Control minus, and you're gonna get this nice sort of, rounding effect. We're going to grab the cutter, and we're gonna rotate it a little bit, to smooth out this corner here, because you see, I don't like this kind of a sharp transition here. So R, and kind of bring it in really close to make this flow really nicely. And then we're gonna introduce a mirror here in the bottom, right? And we're gonna mirror that on X to the other side, so flip it, and you get a really interesting, a really interesting shape here. Let's just apply that. So we're going to apply the boolean, and we're going to apply the mirror. Now let's see if everything is fine. Everything looks fine. So we can actually delete these cutters. Now if you want to keep the cutters for the future reference, you can select them and press M, create a new collection. There's a collection, collections in here. You can call them cutters, and you can click OK. You can disable them or enable them pressing Shift 2, which will enable or disable, turn on and off this collection here, right? Let's go with Shift A and add another cube. And we're going to move this cube here to the top and scale it really narrow. And I'm going to create 2 new cuts in here in the front, maybe a little bit more shallow like this. And let's apply scale, and we're going to go here, and we're going to bevel this. Now, when I'm going to bevel this, you'll see the bevel will overshoot. You can press C to clamp it, and then we're going to reduce the number of segments because it's insane. Let's say, I think 10 is enough. So do that, right click, shade auto smooth, shift click, control minus. And now instead of, mirroring the shape, we can mirror the cutter. So I'll show you how to do it. You can go here to mirror. Now you can see that our shape will disappear. And the most likely reason for that is that because this cutter is set to exact. Now exact cutters will not work if there's any problem with geometry. Let's go here to this tab and enable face orientation. Everything seems fine, but for some reason when I'm enabling the mirror, the shape, main shape disappears. So we're gonna select this shape here and change the solver to fast, and you can see now that this creates some problem here in terms of geometry. The red geometry is flipped, we're also missing some faces. So this could be a problem with the cutter, with the position. You can move it, you can try different things. I'm not sure why this is actually happening, to be honest. But that's quite interesting. Let me just remove this face for a second. This looks fine. Huh, that's interesting. What we could do is go to edit mode, press 3 to clean things with machine tools, because we have smart vert enabled. But this still is a bit weird, to be honest. So now we can actually mirror the cutter to the other side, but to be honest, since we have this problem, I think I'm going to first apply this boolean, right? And then I'm going to fix this, so I'll show you how to fix it. We're going to select these verts here and press F to create a face. Select these and hold F. And if it doesn't work, let's go here and enable F2 add-on, which allows us to actually hold key and fill everything as faces. So one more time, select these two verts. Now I can hold F and this should fill the entire shape with your faces, right? Yeah, there you go. I'm not sure why this happened. It's kind of interesting, but there you go. Sometimes it happens. So to know how to solve this problem, let's add another mirror and mirror this on X to the other side. And you got an interesting shape here. So when you're designing something, make sure that, things aren't completely symmetrical, because it's going to be much more interesting. I can see we got some shading problem here, but this could be fixed with a few more modifiers. So now on top of that, what I want to do, I want to run a chamfer here, okay? So we're going to keep this mirror, so we don't have to do it on every single edge. We're going to alt-click this and shift-alt-click this. It doesn't work. We're just going to hold control and click around this loop of faces here. We're going to go to selection here and go to loops and select boundary loops, which will select these boundary loops, and control B and bevel it. Now you see that doesn't work. And it doesn't work because we have this edge selected, which creates problems. So let's go here and hold control. Control doesn't work. One more time. Let's select this entire section here with control, and then select loops, boundary loops. You can actually assign shortcut, right click, assign shortcut, mine is shift tilde. So when I press shift tilde, that's going to select automatically. This is a problem. Let's just deselect these and now shift tilde. There we go. Now it should work. So control B, and it still kind of doesn't allow us to bevel, and that's because we have enabled clamping. So we can disable clamping by pressing C. So control B, then C, and let's see what's actually happening. Let's scroll down to chamfer. Now the reason why it wasn't allowing us to bevel is because of this edge here overlapping with this edge here. So let's go to vert mode. Now the way you move verts, okay, when you're fixing something like this, you need to remember that these edges, right, they support the curvature. You should not move them. So when we're gonna be moving verts, we're gonna be moving these verts to these verts. So select that vert, select this one, press 1 with machine tool to merge them. Select this vert, select this vert and this one and merge them. And here the same way. So we're gonna merge this one to this one, and we're gonna merge this one to this one, okay? These aren't important, but we could just merge them like this. And same here, we could just do something like this, okay? Cool. And now this works. Perfect. And then here it's fine. Awesome. So let's go here to the middle section. Then we can do the same thing. So let's just select the entire thing with control. Holding control all around, right? And here. and then Shift tilde and Control B and chamfer. Now when you create chamfers and sometimes your loop's gonna get moved, you can click here and turn off loop slide, okay? You cannot see it here that well, but occasionally loop's gonna slide and you may want to turn it off to create better shading. Here too, we're going to, select this with Alt, should be selecting the entire loop, perfect. Shift tilde, and here you see we got some problem. Now this is created by the clamping. Clamping occasionally will create double edge, okay? So there's a double edge in here, we need to remove this. So let's press 3 with machine tools, and we still got a problem here with a double vert. So let's move this in here, Shift click and 1. Come here to the middle. I wonder if my machine tools didn't clean that. Should have cleaned it actually. Here in the bottom as well. Move this here, Shift click 1. Move this here with G, Shift click 1. Now, Alt click, Shift tilde, and there we go. Right, this could be small, okay? Now this was mirrored to the other side, which is PG. So what we're gonna do now, we need to fix stuff in here as well, see? Now when you have this face orientation enabled, anything that's red, it means the inside of the geometry is poking through. So this is gonna cause shading problems, issues with baking. So you wanna fix these, okay? So here we're gonna move this one here, this one here, this one here, and this one here. And we're going to move this one here, and this one here, this one here, and this one here, this one here, and this one here. Okay, whoa. And then we're gonna symmetrize it, okay? So, oh wait, let me see here. Here's fine. So select everything with A, and let's go to Mesh and Symmetrize. Now into Symmetrize from left to right, okay? And also, my mirror has disappeared. So instead of -x to +x, let's go +x to -x, and everything should be good, okay? So then we can actually apply this mirror, right? So there we go, clean shape, right? Awesome. So with this done, guys, what we can do now is add the bevel modifier. So let's go here at the bevel, and you see that our shading will go to shit. Now the reason for that is because we need one modifier, but we're gonna talk about it in a second. First, let's add 3 segments, and we also need to decrease the probably size of this bevel. Let me just see that it's set to 0.1 meter. So hold Shift, scroll to the 0, and then, increase the bevel size just a little bit. You can also disable clamping, clamp overlap. There we go. Let's disable that, and let's just, bevel this a little bit here manually like that. Let's go to geometry here and change the miter to arc, and we want to remove this. This is what's causing this kind of a pinching here on the corner. GG, you can slide this one a little bit out. See if this is gonna fix the problem. Now, this could be actually caused by the bevel catching the angle, although I don't think this is the issue, but let me just see that. Nope, that's actually a problem with this edge. So let's Control B that to split it, to introduce a little bit more diversity here. That didn't fix the issue. Let's just create 1 more or 2 more edges in here like this to ease off this transition. It still doesn't really work very well. Press 3 to clean it. Something is not right in here. Part of this geometry is actually flat, which is interesting. Let's shade it smooth one more time. There we go, that fixed it. There may be some bug in Blender with this auto smooth tool. Interesting. We got some shading problems here. Now let's fix them. So let's move this vert here and this one here. Let's move this one here and this one here. This for some reason got messed up again. Maybe because we had a mirror going on. Fix this and move this. Oh, whoa, move this one here. And this one is fine. No, it isn't. Let's leave these alone. In fact, you know what? I might leave it like that. That's okay. So one more time, select everything, and we're going to mirror that. So symmetrize it to the other side, and we're good to go, right? Cool, so now you see the shading problem is caused by the normals being averaged. So what we need to do is we need to add a weighted normal modifier, which will fix magically all the shading, but we need auto smooth. You can see this warning here. So go here, enable auto smooth, and you're good to go. So apparently when you click on shade smooth, this will remove auto smooth, and if you're gonna click here shade auto smooth, it will enable it. So interesting stuff. That's new to Blender 3.3. We could create some more cuts here in this area. So we could grab a cube and you know, create some more cuts. For example, very small notches like this, right? So you know, bring this somewhere here, and we could actually rotate it, so RY, and rotate it a bit like this. Move it on X a little bit outside here, and apply scale. And then we could actually expand this a bit on X-axis, and bevel is here. So Control B and scroll maybe 8 of these segments. Right click, shade auto smooth, and here we can, you know, create the cut, right? So maybe not the entire way through. Maybe you know what? Let's reset the rotation. Alt R to reset the rotation, RY and 90. Actually RY and 180. Now let's move this here, SX, and scale it in, and move it in here. And we're gonna create a notch like this. It's gonna be interesting. So GY and move it in here. And let's just Control minus this. And now the reason why the shading is getting messed up again is because the order of modifier is incorrect, okay? Weighted normal should be always at the bottom. Then, when you boolean something on a beveled surface, the bevel needs to be second. Why? Because first you cut and then you run the bevel through it. If you first bevel and then you cut it, these edges will not be beveled, okay? So you need to move the cutter above the bevel, and then everything is peachy, alright? So, you know, this one is a little bit too big, so we're gonna scale it down on maybe Y-axis like this. And scale it in here, create like a really tiny notch here somewhere, you know, on the edge, and maybe one more somewhere here. So click on this cutter, go to edit mode, press A, shift D to duplicate it, and just move it here on Y-axis, somewhere maybe here, and we're going to move it a little bit to the right, and do that. And then we're going to copy this one more time, shift D, Y, and move it to the very front of this shape, and GX, and move it in like this. And we're going to rotate it, so RZ, and rotate it so it's going to actually fit through with the, you know, with the theme here and the angle. So GX, and move it in here. There we go. This one is a little bit too close to GX. Move it in here, like that. GX. There we go, right? This should do. Okay. I just want to select this one. Press L, hovering over the shape. And then GX, and move it a little bit here. Cool. And we could move this one to cutters, so M cutters. Then we're gonna mirror this, right? So let's just grab a mirror here. Now when you add a mirror to a shape with weighted normals, what you want to do is move the mirror above weighted normals, okay? And here we're going to bisect it to the other side, okay? So you get these really nice small notches, and the details is concentrated in the areas of interest, so here and here, leaving this space really nice and clean. You could have, for example, some text here embedded, maybe some serial number, but you know, we're not gonna be doing it now. This is, you know, this is good enough. We could open this space here as well to create a bit more airy, kind of like a feeling, but you know, this is cool. We could actually create some holes for screws in here, like 2 of them. So let's just grab a cylinder, and let's increase the number of verts here to 40. This is the only time you can do that, because when you do anything with this shape, when you move it, you can't change the number of verts. So remember to do that at the beginning. Okay, now we're gonna do something cool in here. So we're going to do something like this, SZ to scale it. And we're going to embed that. So right click, Sheet Auto Smooth, Shift click, Control B, and we're going to press Control plus this time, okay? This is a union boolean, and we need to move the boolean above the weighted normals, above the mirror, okay? And the above the bevel, right? Makes sense? Cool. And now with this cutter here, we can actually start editing it. So apply scale first, so Control A, apply scale, go to face mode, Control B, scroll down, create a chamfer, select the face, and in fact, let's just borrow this face. So Shift D and GZ here, P, and separate selection. Now we're gonna grab this face, okay, and we're going to scale this and extrude it up. And now let me see this if it's gonna work. GZ and drop it down, select the cutter. We're gonna be cutting the cutter and Control minus, and you're gonna get this effect, but we want to cut through. So let's first apply this one here. So we're gonna go here, apply this boolean, right? And let's which one is this? Let's apply this one as well. And then we're gonna grab this one and we're going to Control minus through that, and we're gonna move this boolean on the top to cut through this entire shape here. That's awesome. And we could move this one in edit mode down, so GZ, and cut through it here if you want it as well. Or actually what we could do is extend it like this and cut through. This makes sense. You know what, I don't like that. I'm just gonna cut just the top here and leave it like this, okay? Select that and move it to cutters, move this one to cutters, and Shift 2 to turn cutters off, so we don't have to be bothered by them. Cool, let's apply that because I like this, so let's apply it. What we can do here is we can apply small chamfer here, so click, Alt click, Shift Alt click, Control B, chamfer. And now here I want to create a bevel, okay, around this. Now, when you have edges like this, you want to create more or less perpendicular connections. So here I would rather run an edge like this. I remove this one is fine. So Alt click, Shift Alt click, Control B, and then we're going to scroll it like that, okay? Not too many, maybe, you know, I don't know, I think 10 will do. 10 segments. You're gonna have this kind of like a welded, you know, sort of an imitation of welding here. Here in the bottom, we could also create, you know, create the, I'll just select it with Control, create a chamfer. So scroll down, create a chamfer. Chamfers are very good. They're amazing. They're going to break the surface. So you're gonna create planar shift, and they're gonna help you to reflect light really easily. Texturing, this is a joke. All we're gonna do is basically go here and just click on the new matte and make it metallic and add a bit of roughness here, some color, and we can you know, go here to Eevee and preview that, and you got yourself you know, fairly decent sort of a metallic shape. Okay guys, well this is it. I think we learned quite a few techniques and things. Like I said, if you want to learn more and you want to really go in depth in terms of modeling and all the basics and fundamentals of Blender, I highly recommend you grab our Jumpstart course. It's free. It's on our website, link in the video description. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.